So we're literally at the moment getting ready to pack up and leave and continue on our road trip. And I'm reading comments and I'm getting ready. We got a phone call. We got update from a friend. And I am torn and trying to figure out how people manage to survive as long as they have, being the way that they are. Kevin, don't go back to Florida if you can help it. Bill Gates just released a bunch of mosquitoes and there are cases of malaria popping up now. For which our good friend Sarah Kapustik replies, you must live under a possible rock because they live in Florida. And a few cases of malaria out of over 20 million plus population in Florida, chances are beyond low. A quick Google search reveals the first article stating that this is a misleading association by a Bill Gates backed company in this extremely rare case of malaria. But the problem is people believe this. And not only do they believe it, they then regurgitate it without any factual knowledge-backed based information besides hearsay, and more panic, more fear, more worry, unnecessarily. I don't get it. I'm almost at a loss for words here. And this, again, after another comment, I actually like this comment. It says, I love and respect. The love and respect between you two is nice to watch. I enjoyed your rocking chair chat.
I was just looking at that. There's another comment on here that I thought you might find interesting. This one that says, did you two hear that Bill Gates wants to get rid of God forever by slicing into our brain? That's the same thing that Elon wants to do. I don't know what.
I have to assume this is the same person. I have to assume this is the same.
I'm sure it probably is. It the same? But I don't know what that has to do with getting rid of God.
No, two completely different morons.
I mean, I understand that, Elon is coming up with the chip. There's these chips, but the chip is supposed to be able to help people who have neurological disorders who can't move their arms and their legs. It's supposed to be a kind of to help paralyzed people walk again, to help whatever else. So I have to look more into that, but I'm not equating.
I venture out into the unknown from time to time with some of the strange things that I think about. Mm-hmm. From a theoretical perspective of what could possibly be. Uh-huh. But there ain't no way I'm going to sit here and run around yapping off at the mouth, telling people that this is fact.
Yeah, that's
warning them to prepare for something that is literally about to be the next plot of a Mission Impossible movie or something. Like, come on now.
That's not my style either. I mean, I understand that a lot of these comments are coming from what the commenters perceive to be a place of
from crappy
help.
YouTube channels telling them this.
Okay, that's actually where I was going to go with. That's where I was going to go with.
It's coming from people reading titles and headline and thumbnails
not watching.
Without ever watching the video.
It's like
this comes from people saying first in the comments, for what? For what?
People like to be first on things.
Watch the video. Watch the video.
That's what Sarah said to that one person. But I do think that a lot of people who make the comments believe that they are helping because they think that it is actual factual.
Let me tell you something that's going to help, okay? Here's another comment I received that says, are you guys preppers? ? Preppers is a broad term here.
Yeah, I don't.
It can only apply to one particular situation.
Most people believe it only applies if you have chickens and you're off grid and you have ammunition stored up.
I sure hope so. Even if you don't believe there isn't any shortages, you never know what will happen tomorrow. You could get injured and lose your job. Natural disasters. Anything and everything does happen on a daily basis that could and does jeopardize our food chain. How about other food shortages like beef. I drive through my state and don't see a quarter of cows as I used to see a year ago.
Are they actually, do they have like statistical data to back up how many, were they really taking a census of the total cow
But
population?
it's like, what if while you're driving through is when they're all being herded to be killed? Or what if they just happen to be on the other side of pasture where there's more water, more grass, more shade, more sun, whatever it is they look for?
There really is real food shortages, whether they're on purpose or not. Certain food items are getting very hard to find right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're only worried about finding Cheez-Its, then I feel like you have a different issue.
I have a family that raises cattle, and it's real. Fertilizer is hard to come by and very expensive, making it very costly to raise cattle and plant hay to get them through the winter months. When grass can't grow, wintertime, cows can't graze. They still have to eat. Grain is very costly, and they also need hay. 2 and 2 is 4. It's very real. And that is very real.
Mm-hmm.
Math is very real. And what you said is very real. It's very costly. Okay.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you a story about a woman who suffered a stroke. This woman suffered a stroke and she ended up in a coma in the hospital for several months. When she regained consciousness, she was immediately served an invoice, a whopping bill that would make you wish you had never came to.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what the hospital won't accept as payment?
Cows and chickens and stored food?
Nor her landlord or mortgage company or the bank that her car loan is through or the grocery store to buy the foods that have gone bad while she was battling for her life. So please spare me with this prepper nonsense, okay? Because no one is nor will ever truly, they will never ever truly be prepared for everything. But to think that growing your own food is going to save you in this world, well, to each their own.
I mean, it's
To
fine.
each their own. And I know, anyway, I know what I'm going to continue to stockpile for my prep.
But you got to think about this. You can grow your own food, but if you don't have the money to pay your land taxes, they take your land. What good is being able to grow your own food if you don't have land to grow it on anymore?
You can grow your own food. You can have your own farm. You can raise your own cattle. But even here, it says in the comment, I have a family that raises cattle and it's real. Fertilizer is hard to come by and very expensive, making it very costly to raise cattle and plant hay through the winter months. When grass can't grow, wintertime, cows can't graze. They still have to eat. Grain is very costly and they also need hay. So at the end of the day, 2 and 2 is 4. It's very real is what this commenter says. Simple fact of the matter is it comes down to money.
Yeah.
Dollars and cents,
Yeah.
okay? So please give me a break with this. I hope, are you guys preppers? Because look, all of this doesn't matter if you can't continuously do what you need to do to build this sustainable food source to survive on, to eat off of. However, that will be taken away from you when you don't pay your bills. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to stick with my method, okay? I'm also going to try to ignore some of these ridiculous comments that come through, which I thought we were free of here recently, but apparently that is not the case. And continue on doing what we have been doing, because 60% of the time it works every time.
Is that a Ron Burgundy quote? It sounds.
But most importantly, we ordered something for some friends that's supposed to deliver today. Mm-hmm. Supposed to deliver today. Now this is a real warning, okay? This is true. This is fact. And I get a phone call this morning after I had reminded them yesterday that it was coming today. Mm-hmm. It's time sensitive. And the phone call is, hey, I got a text message. Now, let's just clarify here. It's a husband and wife. The husband calls me and says, I got a text message from the United States Postal Service saying that they couldn't find my address. Now, it sounds great because their address is relatively new. Mm-hmm. It's new construction, new neighborhood, everything's new. I kind of hear you, okay? But they had to redirect the delivery, which is concerning for me because it's time sensitive. However, he goes, it's not a big deal. It's a minor charge, 75 cents. They just need a credit card. Red flag.
Why? Yeah.
Red flag.
Red flag immediately.
Red flag. Number one, whoever's running this text message scam wants your credit card.
I've gotten those.
They
and
want
email
you
version too.
to confirm your address because they couldn't find it and give them your credit card information, everything that they need to use your credit card. Okay. So then he goes, yeah, USPS. And I'm like, there ain't no way that the company that we ordered from would send a time-sensitive delivery, perishable, through USPS. Impossible. It has to arrive on time. Otherwise, huge costs associated. There's no way you're going to trust the United States Postal Service for that.
Yeah.
So I pull it up. He's on his text message. He's like, wait, I got a tracking number here. I pull up my confirmation. My confirmation says this is being delivered by FedEx. It's being delivered by FedEx.
Well,
And it just got loaded on the truck like 40 minutes ago. So then you said, well, whose phone number did you give them? I gave them the wife's phone number.
yeah.
So how is the husband getting a text message?
Yes.
Now, this is an elaborate scheme that somehow is tied to deliveries that know they're coming.
So I've gotten those text messages before. I've also gotten email versions. The text message is the main one, though, where it's like, hey, we're having trouble delivering this package. And my brain goes, I didn't order anything. And the people who would send me something, they would have told me they were sending something. So I always ignore it. But what I do is just what I had the guy that I was talking to do, and look at like the address, the email address or the whatever, and his said US.PS. Already know. United States Postal Service, you're gonna have a dot at the end if anything.
Oh, it's a text. It's a text. Oh, no, you're talking about the email.
Yeah.
Oh.
So emails that I get, I'll hit the address, where it says whatever. I hit the me part so that it shows me exactly where it's coming from. Not just the name that they put in, but the exact email address, because you can always tell from that if it's real or if it's fake.
Yeah, completely garbage. But this is the world we live in. This is the true threat, not some extrapolated and exaggerated story about some mosquitoes and malaria, or this pseudo food shortage because the shelves seem emptier than they were before. You can't find the particular brand of potato chips that you want, so you got to get a different one. Come on now, folks. We've been driving here for days. We're passing farmland of all different kinds. Plenty of corn in the fields, plenty of cows grazing. However, at the same time, I'm thinking about 2020. I'm thinking about last year, 2022's summer van life road trip. And you know where we stayed the first night? We stayed on a farm. We stayed on a farm in Shaw, Mississippi. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I tell you, out of 2,000 acres she had?
Something crazy like that, yeah.
So say, I think it was actually 2,000 is kind of small for a farm. 2,000 acres. You know what? I thought about it yesterday. If I would have gone and asked her, or just assumed that we were having a potential grain and corn shortage because her farm had no corn on it, what good would that do?
Yeah.
Because she is a soybean farmer. She doesn't grow corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. So there's that.